This episode of Danger Talk is sponsored by Draftkings, America's top-rated daily fantasy app. Jeff Guy, what's up, man? You ready to do this thing?
I'm excited, man. Nothing boosts the confidence of an NFL team like playing the Jets. Am I right?
Man, just winning is a good thing. As long as we win, that's all that matters. And we got a huge win at home. We answered, man. We showed up and played a great game, and I thought everybody played really well. It was cool seeing Jamal Adams get that sack and break the NFL record for DBs getting the most sacks in NFL history. That was cool, and we made our plays when we need to.
Yeah, you guys crushed. It was a fun game to watch because it was just the winless Jets, and then you guys cooking. It was fun. Did you guys give Jamal a hard time when he dropped the interception in the first quarter?
Yeah, everybody was making fun of him in the locker room just about how he had to lift up his knees and try to catch the ball. Jamal can catch though, man. He can make plays, so that was fun. We had several, drops, interceptions and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get those, throughout these remaining few weeks here and keep making plays. And so it was cool, guys making touchdowns. It was cool seeing Freddie Swain get in the end zone. I told him earlier in the week he had one of his best weeks, of practice, and just so you could see his focus. And he's always been focused, but just, the plays that he made, obviously Tyler and all the things he does. DK, he's such a special player. Disley getting back in the end zone. David Moore, Chris Carson. It was a good day for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks came to play. Offense came to play. You threw 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Like, what was just working different on Sunday?
I think the line was doing a great job up front. I think we were on our stuff. Guys were really, really, it's NFL. Sometimes you have tough weeks. Like the week before when we played the Giants, we didn't play our best football. We didn't have our best game plan, in my opinion. And we really adjusted this week and throughout practice and got things dialed up and dialed in. And when we had those plays, we made them. And I think that's just the simplicity of it. It's not overly complicated, but we made our plays and we answered. And I think you got to answer the call when the bell rings.
And we didn't send DK to your house to deliver you a gift this week, but still a big congratulations for you. The first quarterback in NFL history with a winning season in your first 9 years. I mean, that's huge, dude. What does it mean? Sorry. What does it mean to you? I'm getting choked up. What does it mean to you?
Well, winning's everything. That's why I play the game. It's you go out there to win. You don't go out there to be anything else other than to win. I think at this position, playing quarterback, it's all about winning. It's everything you do, the mental side of it, the heart that you put into something, the time, all the years, everything you put into it. It's surrounded around this concept to me. Right? Like, I'm judged off of winning. Do I win or lose? How often do I win? And every time I step on the field, my job is to win. My job is to get us fully prepared to win at all costs, no matter what it is. And it's not about me, it's about us as a team and how do we get that done. And so, it's when I came in the NFL, I wanted to be one of the greatest winners of all time. I think, I got to win multiple more Super Bowls and everything else. And so, just got to stay on the course. You got to keep believing, keep staying the course, keep going, keep doing the process right. I think the process is everything, how you train, how you get ready, how you prepare. And winning is a habit. Jeff, obviously I'm excited about our guest here. We've had some amazing guests along the way, but this one, this one's interviewed me a few times. I've had some special occasions. We've had some big moments with this guest. I mean, this is a good guest now, and she's, she gets to always interview me, but today I had the gift to be able to interview her and have some fun with it. Jeff, you ready for this one?
We should interview her the way she interviews you. You're in the middle of something, you're running off, you're trying to get into game mode, and then
crying,
she pops over.
Sometimes crying.
She pops over going, hey, I know you're doing something, but do you mind? We should have found her when she was trying to get a coffee or something this morning, and then just go, Erin, you ready for an interview? That's what we should have done.
That's actually a good idea, and that's why I loved it, because this is the first time I've ever had an athlete that I work with interview me. So my armpits are sweating, and I kind of love it.
Controversial.
Let's bring her in, Russ.
Armpits are sweating. Here, listen, our guest today, as you guys may already know, is a sportscaster, television host, actress, just amazing in everything she does. You've seen her on shows like College GameDay, Dancing with the Stars. She's currently the sideline reporter for Thursday Night Football, which I get to play on Thursday Night Football every once in a while, and obviously Fox NFL Sunday. But today, I'm going to be speaking and asking the questions. So, Erin Andrews, welcome to Danger Talk.
Applause.
There you go. That's good applause, Jeff.
I love it.
So what you been up to? First of all, where are you at right now? You look like you're in this awesome like bar or some bar lounge or wherever you are.
It's a prohibition church or something. I don't know what the heck that is.
No, so it was the man cave when I moved into. My husband built this house that we live in. It was the bachelor pad that I ended up having to take over, and which I appreciated, but you could tell very much that a single man, and also the builder of this house was a male too. They needed a female touch, so we're going through that as we've been together for, I guess, like, God, a while, but married for 3 years. So this was his man cave, and that's great and all, but he doesn't really need an office, so I took it over. This is my side. There's our golden retriever behind me, and yes, that is a bar, and over on this side is all the hockey stuff. So it's the.
Do you know what single guys? Do you know what single guys call? Do you know what single guys call their man cave? What? My house. My entire house.
Oh, this place, if the walls could talk, let me tell you. But we are staging this business around here.
Well, listen, I'm glad you got Jared completely convinced and changed around here, where he's changing the furniture and everything for you, Erin. You must have turned him around. But listen, Jared, first of all, I've always loved watching him play hockey. So I remember going to a couple of his games and stuff like that. So I got a lot of respect for him. But this man cave's pretty legit over here. So you've just taken over the whole corner, huh?
Hold please. I mean, this wasn't in the man cave before I took over. These are the pom-poms from Florida.
Okay, Florida Gators.
The pom-poms this week, the Florida Gators at the end of that LSU game. What happened?
Brutal. We have to talk about that a little bit.
We don't care about that team, so it doesn't affect us as much as it affects you.
So what you've been up to, Erin? Obviously, just tell all of our listeners, obviously, all the things you do. Take me through a week of what Erin Andrews, because I think my weeks are busy and I'm over here doing DangerTalk and football and everything else, but your weeks seem like all the hard work you have to do. So what you've been up to, obviously in 2020, and just, obviously the new changes with everything.
Yeah, well, the week is different, and I'll give you, I mean, you actually have babies that you have to deal with. You play the game. I like to think I'm, part of your team and all these teams, but sadly I'm not. I don't have to go to practice. But no, just, doing a Thursday game, doing Sundays, and then we fit in features in between that. And this year's been a little different in terms of doing the features, because normally I would fly to Seattle, sit down with Russ, but now it's, you get on the Zoom, you try to make it sexy and hot doing it this way. Yeah, it's different. It's hard. Traveling's different. It's crazy. I haven't seen you in person. I've seen you from afar, but a lot, So my week kind of starts, if you want to think about it, I guess not even on a Sunday. It would be on a Monday, where we just got home from a Sunday game. We are getting our schedule for the whole week. We know that we have a Thursday. We know that we have a Sunday. We get the call times. You start reaching out to PR guys and saying, can I speak to Russ? Can I speak to DK? What can you do for me? And then we just start getting on calls, and you start reading. I live in this man cave pretty much all the time. And then you get on a plane, you go do the Thursday night game, and there's time to get back to LA, I'll do it, or I'll go straight to the Sunday game and stay out there. And then it starts all over again on Monday.
Yeah. And so what is, like, after the football season, what is life like for you in that transition period right after the Super Bowl and everything else? Like, you're on to the next thing, right? So what are you doing from there?
So usually what happens after the season ends is I get a good week of being sick, because I will, my body just realizes I'm done. And then it's like, holy cow, here comes the flu. It always happens. I lose my voice for a week, which my husband doesn't mind. And I turn into a massive congestion machine, and we're pumping Mucinex. Not an ad, but would love one. And then, what's going to happen this year is I have this clothing line that we started with the NFL, and now we've branched out to the NCAA and also with the NBA as well. So going to try to learn from you and figure out how to juggle all these things with these businesses and so forth. And got a couple of other things in the hopper. May not be working with a certain production company on an unscripted project that has already been talked to with a network, and that will be, or scripted project that'll be hopefully announced at some point. And
Cool. What's it called?
I don't know. It's not called Dangerous, I'll tell you that. No.
No,
we don't even have a name yet.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited about the one name that you do have that's really, really growing business is WR, obviously.
Thank you.
Talk to me about this, because Sierra and I, we got to see a lot of your cool stuff, and obviously you've partnered up with Fanatics, which is one of the biggest, fastest growing companies in America, around the world, for everything sports. And it's just a brilliant mind by you. But first of all, just creating amazing stuff for women and girls all around the country, around the world. But How did this all come about? Because, I love the business mindset of you. I've always noticed how focused you are on everything. Obviously, you're mission driven. You have all these great plans and everything else, but to also catapult your career and everything that you've done, and to also creating real business for yourself and for others, and creating real opportunity. Talk to me about where and how that kind of all came about. I love it.
Well, you're sweet, and thank you. I think the biggest thing is I'm a huge sports fan, obviously, and going to a school in the SEC, and that's a whole religion. And then obviously being raised on the NFL, and then having a chance to work in the NFL. I love sports. I'm a geek for it. And one of my first jobs out of college was working for College GameDay, being around all those fans, all the women, and just realizing that there was a pretty big white space in terms of, I'm a tomboy. I kind of dress like a tomboy, but I still want to be able to wear what, the teams that I love. And one was my husband's team. And just kind of thought, all right, how can we make this fun, fashionable, and not what's offered out there? And I'd been trying to do it for about 5 or 6 years. I had been told, yeah, there's a white space, but are you going to be, and I'm dying to ask you this. I'm asked all the time, and I'm sure you are too. How much are you really going to be involved? Or do you just want to say you have it? Yeah. And what people don't understand about me is if I'm obsessed and it's an organic fit for me, I am just on their rear ends with text messages, with emails. Hey, I want to do this. Any word? Is anyone interested? And that's kind of how I was with the NFL. I got a lot of doors slammed in my face and people just saying, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't know if it's going to work out. And then finally, Michael Rubin with Fanatics was like, you know what? You kind of remind me of myself. You're a little bit of a pain in the ass. You seem driven. And
rear end.
Yeah, rear end. Sorry. And we'll see if you said controversial, Jeff. I'm trying to.
I'm sorry, my fault.
So yeah, he said let's try to see if this could work. And last year was our first. We did a soft launch. It actually did very, very well. We kicked rear end, which was exciting. And then we were able to launch into some other leagues. And we may or may not have a deal coming with another league that's close to my heart in this household coming soon. And I'm just kind of learning on the fly. I look up a lot to guys like you, to Michael Strahan, to the Tom Brady's of the world, and how you found your niche and how you can make it yours and still juggle this crazy life. I always thought by the age of 40, I'm 42, I would be retired because I did it all. And now I just feel like it's crazy. I look at you and what you're doing and I'm like, I feel the same way. I kind of want to be the female version of you, like, how do I get my hands in this? How do I do this? It's really addicting.
Well, what I've noticed is your drive is unbelievable. I mean, I've been fortunate to be around you in some production meetings and all that kind of stuff, pre-production meetings and all that. But I've also noticed just how intent and focused you are. And I know, you're on the sideline. You're watching every single moment, every single instant. I'm over there singing to the sideline. I see you. I noticed.
I watched you, and you looked right at me, and that was awesome.
It was pretty cool. But I think the fun part that for any woman, for anybody out there, for any young girl too as well, but just anybody really listening is that it really takes hard work, it takes vision, and it takes execution. I think that your ability to beautifully balance all of that and still do it with style and grace is really, really key. And I think that's been what's really cool about what I've gotten to know from you and be around you, but also the whole process, even what you're doing with WR. And so congrats to you on that. And so make sure if you guys are listening here, you guys got to make sure that you go to Fanatics, make sure you get Erin Andrews lines. Obviously, she's so connected with the NFL and so many other great leagues as well coming along the way, and other great leagues. So I make sure you guys go get WR and rock it, because I know our house.
Also, I'm not afraid to wear women's clothes, so I'll check it out.
Okay.
Well, that may be the next thing as well. I already was talking to our manufacturer today about doing a little unisex action. That's one thing I'll joke about taking over my husband's office, but he is very dialed in and into clothes and loves to look at it. And he's trying to say, well, why can't you do this for a guy? So yes, now there's more things on the plate.
All right. I like it.
What keeps us going. You know what I mean, Jeff?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You know what I'd like to ask you about? One of the greatest games in Seahawk history. I don't know what your pro team is. You can tell us. If it's Seahawks, you can tell us.
Tell the truth.
I was raised a Green Bay Packers fan, but I will say
why you like going to Green Bay so much.
Yeah, they don't even have cheerleaders.
Don't even have cheerleaders, and sometimes we need to. No, I'm just kidding. No, they don't have cheerleaders, and they don't have a bathroom on the sidelines, and that's very, very difficult, especially when you're
gross.
And you have to go tinkle.
It's the worst.
What was I gonna say? What was I saying? Oh, raised a Packers fan. I lose my train of thought quite a bit, but it's funny. you start becoming a huge fan of the guys and their like organizations or coaches, people with stories. I mean, I was thinking about Russell, you know, when I was getting ready for this today, and I remember the night of the draft. And because I had covered Russell all throughout college, I remember sitting in Washington, D.C. with my dad, and we were going to, I think, we were in town for something in D.C., and we were waiting, and finally his name was called. And my dad kept saying all throughout the night, I'm so happy for Russell Wilson. Well, then Russell Wilson tore my dad's heart out of his chest after
wow.
And that emotional, win, obviously in Seattle. And I remember my dad texting me going, I feel like I'm going to puke, but I'm so happy for Russell.
Well,
you cheer for the guys and the stories and so forth. So yeah, I'm a fan of all the people that I have relationships with, and they're good for me. Jeff, what's your question?
The question was, take us back to one of my favorite Seahawks games ever. A lot of Seahawks fans are obsessed with this game. The 2013 NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers. Boo, the trashiest team in the world. So I want to know what Russ remembers from the game and what you remember from the game. There was a lot. I'll ask you about the little Richard Sherman moment that I wasn't too happy about. But I want to know about the game. What do you remember about the game?
All right, Russ, you want to take it?
Well, I remember winning. That's all that matters, just the celebration of it all. But it was a crazy matchup. They were so good. I remember my rookie year. I remember my second year, and walking up to I had played some great teams in college. I mean, playing, at Wisconsin, played at NC State. I played against some of the best college players and guys who still play in this league today. But I'll never forget the first time my rookie year, I had to strap on the pads and had to go against the 49ers. I was like, who the hell are these guys? Like, you had Alden, you had Justin Smith, you had all these guys who were just great players. You had the linebackers and Willis and Bowman. You had such great DBs. I mean, but I'll never forget the second year we actually played them. And, in my second year, we played them at home in the NFC Championship game, and just the matchups and the battle that was throughout the whole entire game. I think it may have been that game, but I think that for like one of the first plays of the game, I got crushed by Alden right in the chest and knocked the ball out even. But obviously we went for it on fourth down and double count, and they went off sides, threw a touchdown to Jermaine Kearse. And then next thing you know, all I know is the ball was tipped up in the air by Sherm, and the rest was history. So that was a good night for sure.
I think before even we get to that game, sorry, Jeff, I'll take over now. Who's the broadcaster here? I did a playoff game of yours before that. Was it the season before? It was the RG3 game where he went down.
We played in Washington, actually.
My memory of that game was I just come to Fox and I got moved to the A team to do the playoffs. And I don't know how much you knew Joe and Troy. And I remember you walking in, and I, high and mighty, I was like, I covered him in college. He's amazing. He's such a good dude. Like, you guys will love him. And I have a picture of the post-game interview, and that was just so special because I obviously had known you before, and I was like, wow, how this puppy has come full circle. Now to get to your game.
First of all, I need this picture. Whatever picture you have. I have
it. I already know my coat I was wearing too. What?
He ain't no puppy, Erin. All right, we don't call him a puppy.
He's not. It was very special. But let's see. What I remember from that game is Richard Sherman, and there were so many parts to that like obviously it's hilarious. I'm just ticked off I never got a Snickers commercial out of it. I tried to sell it so badly to Mars, and they weren't listening to me, and whatever.
You hear that, Snickers? She needs a commercial here.
And even when he went to San Francisco, I tried to resell it where it was like, he's angry, he's yelling at me, I give him a Snickers, and he's in a 49ers uniform. Fine, I'll make up commercials now too. Add it to my repertoire.
Well, I know you've addressed it many times, but maybe people that haven't heard that you've addressed it, this is our opportunity here on Danger Talk. But I'm a fan of football and women, So when
he's a huge Seahawks fan, just so you know,
the biggest. And so when he said that to you, and he was kind of shouting and all jacked up from the game, just whatever. I think of you as like this boss, like you're not like the gals I know, So I remember thinking like that wasn't a big deal, and then the way it got ran with. I just kept thinking like they're making her sound like she's some delicate flower. Like she's been in this business for a long time. She probably doesn't care. So what did you care? Were you offended? Were you like, hey, why did he yell at me? Or
no, honestly, I thought it was awesome. The only thing that I was many things. I've said this before. One of the things that I was annoyed about was myself, shocker, in the ballroom, but I was, because I remember when it was happening that I thought to myself, holy cow, my next question better be a good one. And I'm still trying to follow up with what he's saying. But I had known that he was not a fan of Michael Crabtree. He had discussed that in a production meeting with myself and the announcers. So I wasn't shocked. But what I was worried about as that was happening is, holy crap, what am I asking for a second question? And I don't want people to think he's yelling at me, because he's not, because he's awesome. So then when he stopped and he said, don't you ever talk about me again, I was like, who's talking about me? Now, as I've discussed with other people, that wasn't a terrible question, but what I want to like blow my brains out about is my stupid look on my face when I did it. I was talking about you. Like, why do you have to ask it that way? Just say, I should have done it over. And then what is not in my comfort zone to do, I think maybe at that time, but would be now, is right away they pulled me off of him, and I wanted to ask a follow-up question about actually what it was going to be like to then, be matched up against the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl, playing in New York, and what does that moment mean to him? And they just said, go to Joe, because they panicked, and I should have been like, no, I got one more, and this is what it is. So I'm mad at myself.
Well, I think first of all, I think the moment was just so absolutely nuts. I mean, the stadium, I couldn't hear the people next to me. It was so crazy and so loud. I just remember Colin throwing the ball up, and I'm like, they just tried Sherm, and he goes back and tips it back up in the air, and Malcolm catches it. Just the electricity in the stadium. I think everybody was losing. I don't even think. I think everybody in that moment was just chaotic. I've never been.
Yeah.
I've been in some crazy games and crazy matchups and loud stadiums, but there's nothing like Seattle being in that stadium.
No.
And
And I wasn't mad about it at all. I was like, no, Richard Sherman's my guy. I love him. Erin Andrews doesn't care. But then the second that Richard Sherman went to San Francisco, I was like, man, that guy's the worst. And he yelled at Erin Andrews. I don't need this.
No, but what's interesting is I was just thinking to myself, my gosh, I didn't interview Russell after that game, but in an NFC Championship situation, I'm not allowed, because we knew that Russell was going to go up on the trophy stand, probably with Terry Bradshaw. So they were like, Russell's off limits, get somebody else. And I was just thinking, why didn't I talk to you? But that's why.
Well, one of my favorite moments about that game too was, being up there on stage with Terry Bradshaw. I remember Paul Allen was standing next to me.
Aww.
And I remember, them playing Frank Sinatra and everything. I was talking to Terry, and I started asking him. I was so zoned in the moment. I said, Terry, how do we get this done? How do we win the whole thing? And he started giving me this advice. I'm not going to tell everybody the advice, because I'm still in the midst of trying to win another Super Bowl right now. So I'm not going to give you all the secrets right now. Okay, Erin, this will be maybe your next interview for me. But I'll never forget just that moment, that stillness. As everything was going so chaotic, I felt so still in that moment. And I think life flashes in front of you, where everything you've worked for, it's right here. It's right now. And so as an athlete, as a player, as somebody who ever wants to be great at anything, I think there's these moments in time that you fully capture and you fully become still. And that was one of them. I remember Terry and Jeff, Terry really well too, actually. But I think that moment of stillness was really pure for me. And then next thing I know, I'm singing Frank Sinatra out loud, and Paul Allen kind of raps, kind of grabs my arm and is like, "You like Frankie, Frank? You like Frankie?" and I said, "Yeah, my dad used to sing to him all the time." Crazy story. The next morning I get up, the doorbell rings, and all of a sudden I have this massive box of Frank Sinatra stuff. And it just, those moments like that are just really special, and I think back to that. So that game really meant a lot to me, obviously my career and everything else, but I think also too, just how everything comes to fruition, everything you've ever worked for. And so that was a special night. And I'm glad Richard Sherman tipped that ball up, that's for sure.
Wow.
So that was
Was
pretty cool.
that ball catchable, by the way? Like, can we just go back and talk about it? Because I always think about Richard Sherman's play and the interview. Would he have been able to get that? Was he
talking about Crabtree?
Yeah.
Crabtree? Yeah. I mean, Crabtree's got you've seen him in college and all the things he's done in the NFL. I mean, he's got unbelievable, catching skills, ball skills to catch the football. So for Sherman to be able to do that and turn the way he did and knock it backwards and knock it up. And, ironically, I think Sherman did that actually several weeks before in New York. We were already beaten, the Giants pretty good, but they
Yeah.
threw a ball down the right sideline, very similar to that, I believe. Eli did, and Sherm tipped it back, and I think Earl had caught it, I believe, but it was looked very similar. That was several weeks before, and ironically, I had told Coach Carroll, early that week, I said, the crazy thing is we get to play in New York, and hopefully we get to come back to New York again. And sure enough, we were able to go back to New York again. So those moments are like that are really special. So
And it wasn't even cold in that Super Bowl. They had the
no,
heaters on the bench, and I was sweating in my puffer coat. And I was like, I thought this was going to be like a whole snow situation. It
I
was
was at that game, and they gave all the fans like this big like winter pack, like a whole thing that had all this extra stuff because they're like people are going to be freezing, and so like people were taking gear off like when they came into the stadium.
And
a lot of people took their Broncos jerseys off and set them on fire after that game also.
After the first play that went over his head, right? It was like, oh boy. Didn't New York get dumped on really bad the next day? I think the snow came the next day.
it was supposed to rain. It was supposed to snow that morning, that day of the game.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it kicked past to the next day.
Crazy.
And I remember being up still. It was probably 4:30 in the morning. I was still up from the night before. We just up the whole night, and there was snow just coming down.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. What were you up doing, Russ?
Controversial.
Celebrating
the whole. It was just snowing like crazy. It was an amazing night, and I actually had to do an interview at 5:30. For I don't know, one of those morning shows, and I just remember just how bad it was, and it was. We were barely able to get out of there, flying out the next morning to go back to Seattle. So it was actually definitely a cool day, and we got lucky that night in the sense that the moon was right there, right in the middle. There's no snow. It was about 52 degrees. I think it was actually colder in Seattle than it was even in New York. So it was a special day for us. But Jeff, I'm gonna kick you off now. It's me and Erin Andrews one-on-one.
Let's do it.
We go
I had a
one-on-one
feeling
here.
this would happen. All right.
Sorry, bud. It's just
see you in
it's
a
just
little
me and
bit,
Erin,
baby boy.
Me and Erin and Jared's man cave over here. We're
Yes.
having fun. So listen, Erin, obviously you grew up, in Maine, Lewiston, Maine. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
So how did you become a Packers fan from Lewiston?
So my dad obviously is the one that got me into loving sports, and I'm a diehard Celtics, diehard Red Sox fan, but of course we'll cheer for other teams because guys have been great to me over the years. But he claims that the Patriots were so bad growing up for him that they were always blacked out in the area and the Packers were always on and Bart Starr was always on.
Yep.
And so my dad just became a diehard. And then, when I was like, Dad, who do we cheer for? Who do you love? Well, this is Brett Favre, and these are the crazy throws he makes. And, sometimes they're interceptions, but we just love, how he plays. And then I remember just so many memories with my dad, even watching Monday Night Football. I think it was the day after Brett's dad passed. And my dad was like, watch how this sideline reporter gives this, report. And I remember laying there with my dad and watching him and him pulling his wife from the stand. So that's how I became a Packers fan. You'll love and appreciate this. This is on my desk. This is the first time I got to meet Bart Starr.
That's amazing.
Yeah. One of the pictures I sent to my dad, it was really, really, I was like, Dad, I'm meeting Bart Starr in Lambeau. How dope is this?
What a blessing. So
Yeah.
your dad was actually a broadcast journalist, right?
Yep.
And
He just retired, actually.
Crazy, because he won like 6 Emmys or something crazy.
He did. He's got me beat. Yep. He's so good too at what he does. And it's crazy, Russell. The game, obviously the comeback against the Packers, the one that you ripped my dad's heart out. I was texting him because if you lost that game, I would have to interview Coach Carroll in the locker room as a losing interview. And I kept saying, Dad, here are my questions. What do you think? And I just remember it was like 2 or whenever, 3 minutes left. My dad goes, this isn't over. And I'm like, Dad, it is. Like, come on, just look at these questions. And he's like, oh no. So thankfully it wasn't over for you guys. Yeah.
No, it definitely wasn't over. So
yeah.
you go from Lewiston, Maine. You end up going. Did you play a bunch of sports when you were growing up or no?
Nothing. I was a dancer, which was awkward for everyone because I hit a massive growth spurt in about 3rd, 4th grade. And these legs went probably to about 5'4", 5'3". And I was the girl, that was hunched over, still am. That's one of my biggest problems with I don't stand up straight just because of my little insecurities with being so tall. So I was put in the back of every dance routine in the middle. nicknamed Minute Bowl all throughout
Minute
high
Bowl,
school
really?
because I was so tall and taller than all the boys and super skinny, wore elastic jeans. There's a fun fact for you because they would all fall off me. So yeah, so no sports, just dance.
So is Ware gonna make elastic jeans for
You know what? I mean, we're thinking about it. Maybe,
yeah,
for
collection.
2022.
An EA Ware collection of elastic jeans. I
Yeah,
think it sounds good. So
for
so
everybody.
take me from Maine, Lewiston, Maine. You get to
Okay.
you end up going from the freezing freaking cold
Yeah.
down to the probably one of the prettiest, best, coolest places you could go, the University of Florida. How'd you get to the University
Mhm.
of Florida? What made you go to become a Gator?
As probably something my dad would never want me to repeat. I said to my dad, I want to go to a school where they have a really good football team. And he just said, or maybe the academics and worrying about what college you want to go to. And I was like, no, Dad, my thought process is this. If I'm going to be on TV doing sports broadcasting and they have a good football team, they'll all be there to cover the football team.
Good point.
And also I wanted to go to football games on Saturday. And I'm not cheering for a school that loses. Well, apparently this past weekend I do, but
It was a
whatever.
tough one.
Yeah,
One
not
for the
good.
Gators. Brian Schottenheimer, my office coordinator, he's a huge Gator guy. So I rub it in,
Really?
yeah, he played there. He played.
I
He
didn't
was
know
number
that
16.
Shotty was a Gator,
Yeah.
a big Gator fan. Wow, I need to go
Yeah.
back and read the
For sure. Yeah,
history
he
books.
is a
Wow.
Gator. So you end up going there. Did you dance there at Florida, or did you do both, or what'd you do? Okay,
Yeah, I was on the
so you
dance team.
danced and you did broadcasting. So how'd
Mhm.
that work? How'd that work
It
out?
was great. So I did the sports station. I did the 6 o'clock news. Well, we had this sports station.
AM or PM?
PM. I
Gotcha.
also did the radio show, during the afternoon. And then I would get ready to go to Gator Dazzlers practice, Dazzlers, Dazzlers. And I would know the opposing. So whenever we played, whoever it was in the SEC, and then, we made it obviously to the championship game my senior year, I would know the opposing team and I would heckle them because I loved sports so much. So I knew who was playing. I knew the star players. I would tell the dance team, like, yeah, so-and-so's good. And like, this is what they say. And he's not good at this. I also, Russell.
So you're a trash talker?
Trash talk, like Mo Pete in the championship game where they absolutely killed Florida, Michigan State. I'm sitting there and I'm like talking trash, and Mo Pete's like, yo, girl, look at the scoreboard. It was so great. What would I do? Oh, I would think I was an extension of the Gator basketball team. I would see Billy Donovan give the plays to the team, and I'd be like, 2, 5, like I would try to give it to our team. I mean, who do I think I am? That's so lame.
Look at you trying to call the plays. So in terms of that whole process, what'd you love about being a Florida Gator, and what was the experience? I think one of the coolest things I think in college football and just sports in general, the coolest game is Florida versus Georgia. I think that's like one of the best games in football. So can you take me back to some crazy moments there and some of the relationships or anything like that in terms of those kind of games?
Yeah, I mean, football games were exactly how I wanted them to be or how I envisioned. I also can't imagine being a parent of a kid that goes away to college because when I think of the shenanigans that when we would drive to Jacksonville for the Florida Georgia game, I mean, shenanigans, and it's as advertised, but I feel like you need those moments to kind of grow up and appreciate things. But it's fun. I mean, you hear from the Georgia fans as you're walking around at night in your super cool black pants from Wet Seal and your hot turquoise top that you think is so rad. Gators wear jean shorts, like, ooh, burn, thanks Georgia. But no, it was so much fun, and I was a fan, but I was so invested because I loved sports so much. Like, I knew everything about what this matchup meant. I knew, okay, we need Jesse Palmer to have a good game, sexy Rexy Grossman to have a good, just our defense, Javon Curse, like, we're freaks. So yeah, I mean, it was more to me than anything because I loved being a Gator, but I also loved the sports aspect of it so much.
So you're like the girl and Remember the Titans. The girl who just knew everything about everybody,
Yeah,
every player. So I love that.
super late.
So
Yeah.
so when'd you know? Like when'd you know you were ready for the big stage? When'd you know that you were going to be great at what you've been doing for all these years?
Well, I did, I hoped I would be great. I just knew I was a big enough fan. And I was talking about this in high school. I mean, people were writing in my yearbook, see you on ESPN. And so it was kind of the goal really early. I mean, my dad tells a story that when I was, young and I was watching NBA with him, because I was obsessed with the NBA. That's where I first got my love. Larry Bird was my jam. Kevin McHale was my first crush. Casey Jones, the head coach of the Celtics, like these were my boys. Like I felt like they were my everything. And then I learned about Magic Johnson and his relationship with Larry. And then, Charles Barkley became like just everything to me. I was a massive Phoenix Suns player. And the night they lost to the Bulls, I just remember sobbing. So, like, these were like my friends. I thought they were all my friends. So I knew I wanted to do this. And I remember being on the couch with my dad. And I just said, Daddy, I want to do this when I grow up. I was watching like Hannah Storm or somebody like that. And my dad said, Erin, everybody wants to do this, like this is the dream job. And I just kind of talked about it forever. And I didn't really know of anything else I wanted to do. And it would just seem weird to me if I hadn't have tried it.
Well, so for you, like, was there somebody that was super besides your dad? Was there
Mm-hmm.
somebody that was super inspirational? You mentioned Hannah Storm, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Were there other people that were super inspirational for you that you wanted to be like or wanted to grow up like? And because for me, I always wanted to be like Derek Jeter. Like I
Oh, yeah.
love Derek Jeter. I
So do
love
I.
watching Jeets. I love watching Jeets. I
Yeah.
love watching him play. I loved watching Michael Jordan play and how
Oh, yeah.
clutch he was. You always knew he was gonna get the ball in the game, and you really believed every time he got the ball at the end of the game,
Mm-hmm.
he was gonna make the game winning shot. And even if he didn't, you knew the next time he was gonna make it. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
for me, like those were people that I always looked up to. Was there somebody in your field in particular that you really looked up to, and just even not in your own field, but just in general in the world that you really respected?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I always took notice of Hannah because she was doing NBA on NBC at the time, and I really loved the NBA. But also, Melissa Stark was somebody
Yeah.
that really, for me, was I did her haircut. I colored my hair super blonde to be like her. I loved how she was pretty, but I also love that I thought that the guys really respected her. And my dad always pointed out what a great job she did.
Hmm.
She made it fun, and I didn't realize how young she was at the time. She fit right in on Monday Night Football. And, there's been times I've been in a room with Belichick because I've seen her do sit downs with Bill Belichick. And I've said to Coach Belichick, what is it about her that you love so much? Because I want to be that way. And I said that to Coach Belichick a couple years ago. And I've texted Melissa. Funny story. The first time I ever met her, it was at the Sports Emmys. I just joined Fox, and she was there. And I walked over to her. I started sweating profusely. I already had worked at ESPN for so long, and I just said, "My name is Erin Andrews, and I just want to tell you, you're my Michael Jordan
Oh, I love
of
that.
sports
Wow.
broadcasting." And I just started talking really like crazy and weird. And she was like, "Really nice to meet you." And I was like, God, I just blew it with Melissa Stark. But we've become great friends since then. And I'm thankful for her and her guidance. But she was it for me.
Yeah, that's so good. Melissa's one of the best, and I, I
Yeah.
I also think about Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Miller was
Yeah.
somebody that was one of my favorites when I watched the NBA, and she
Hmm.
should probably could beat Reggie in a game. So I love my dad used to always talk about Cheryl and just like, man, she's great at what she does. Melissa, those are some of the best. Hannah, obviously you and my lifetime, and just really watching you do what you do. But to me, what I'm really interested in is like I think about my sister. Right, she goes to Stanford. She plays basketball there. They're number one team in the country. They're doing great. I think that the reality is what does it mean to you to be a woman in sports? What does that mean? Woman in sports. What does that mean? And what does that legacy look like? What's the deep meaning behind the idea of a woman in sports to me?
You know, it's funny because I think when people ask me, and I don't know if this is where you're going with this, a lot of people ask, or do you feel like you're treated different? Do you feel like you're a role model? A lot of dads will ask me, how did your dad do this? Because I want my daughter to be involved.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for where I am. I know I have busted my rear end, but I also know I didn't want anything else. But the one thing for me, I'm so grateful for in terms of getting me where I am and to there's not many of these positions, especially on a prime time, football game. And I'm grateful for that is people like you, people like a Joe and Troy, people like, a Tom and an Aaron and all these guys that have just been so open and accommodating and trusting with me because It is interesting. And, you know, I've gone through a lot of stuff in my career. All I ever wanted was the athletes, the coaches, and the organizations to respect me. And there can be a ton of people that talk a certain way about you on Twitter, or even local writers that don't get you. And when it all comes down to it, when you get that one text from a guy that you've covered, or, you know, a call or voicemail, and it's like, way to go, EA, good. That's all I wanted, you know? And so I feel like to get the respect from you guys, it it validates everything that I've worked for, and it validates being a respected female in this industry. So it is a very heavy thing to have on, you know, your shoulders, that you are somebody that has made it in this industry. You are somebody that little girls look up to. But I think what you guys don't understand, the, you know, people like you and all the ones that have really helped me, is you really put me in this position. You've been so wonderful and just trusting of me, and that's helped me so much.
Well, I think first of all, you have all the respect in the world because you've earned it. You've earned
Well, thank
everything.
you.
You're super knowledgeable. I think your knowledge of the game, your knowledge of situations, your knowledge of people, and what guys are going through, guys and girls are going through. I think it's really powerful to know exactly what you're talking about, but also to know and have this compassionate side to you too as well, and this
Mhm.
understanding and how you ask your questions and the grace that you ask them with, I think is a really beautiful balance of how to do it at the highest level. And I think so. I
Appreciate
think also too, what's really interesting is for me coming in and getting to know you, but also for me being in the league for this is my ninth year now. So,
it. Which is crazy.
yeah, which is wild. The craziest thing is this is a true story, and I haven't told you about this yet, but I had a guy from the other team the other day. I'm not gonna say his name, but he played for one of the other teams, and he comes up to me and played for the Jets. And he comes up to me and he's a linebacker. And he
I'm not
goes,
gonna say who he
I'm not gonna
is.
say his name. I'm not gonna say his name,
What position?
but played linebacker.
Mhm.
But that's all I'll give you.
Okay.
But he comes up to me. He goes after the game. He's like, bro. I'm like, what's up? He goes, well, you're my greatest, you're the greatest athlete I know. And I'm like, huh? And he was like, which was fascinating to me because he was like, man, you're my
That's
favorite athlete like ever, all time, like for real. And he just hit me probably like right in the ribs,
oh
probably
yeah,
several plays before.
knock your
But
ass
he,
out.
what was really cool was is and just amazing how life and everything you work for, how it inspires somebody else. But what was really interesting is that he had said to me, because I was growing up, I was playing, quarterback, I was playing linebacker and everything else, and everybody told me I was too small, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Man, you inspired me, man. Like you the one, like you the guy. And so what was interesting to me when he said that was I started thinking about back to all the people that inspired me and just where I am today. And just
Yeah,
I just turned 32, but I feel like I feel like I'm just beginning. I feel like it's
I
just the process,
know.
kind of similar to what you said. It's like
Yeah,
you've had this amazing um illustrious career of all the amazing things you've done, but it feels like you got where, that's just starting and just blowing up like
hmm,
crazy. You have all these amazing things that you're doing too as well. And as all that's transitioning, all that's happening, it's like, man, I feel like I'm just beginning. You
I
you
know.
and your love life, married, and all this other stuff that you got going on, just life in general. It's amazing how everything comes together. And so
Yeah,
what I was curious about is as this transition of sports has changed, and I think about the 9 years that I've been in the NFL,
right.
the transition of women in sports, and just even from even your role and what you do, how has that changed from the time that you started? What year was your first time you ever did an NFL game? Do you remember?
An NFL game?
Yeah.
I have to look back on my phone. No, I think
but
this
but
is my
roughly, like, was it
I think it's
10
my
years ago,
eighth
15 years
year.
ago, eighth year?
No,
Okay, yeah, you've
maybe
been doing it longer,
9.
8, because when I came in the league, you were doing it, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so it's about your ninth or 10th. So it's been, because you were doing college when I was there, right?
Yes.
And then so
This
it's
is
about 9 or 10 years. So we're about
yeah.
even here. We've been
My
playing
first
ball for a
Super
while.
Bowl ever was with you, which
Yep.
is crazy.
hmm
So yeah, and I had done, wait, how long have you played? 9
This
years?
is my ninth year.
This
So
may be my
you've been.
ninth
I
year,
think
my
this is your
ninth
ninth. I think
or
we're. I
10th
think we're.
year.
I think
Yeah.
we're playing for par here. So
Oh
the
my
the,
gosh.
the, the reality is that I think back to because the first time I ever met you was, what game was it? I was
Your
it.
first game at NC State and you were taken off in an ambulance.
Okay. Well, first
Who
of all,
were you playing?
we're
And it was
playing
a
South Carolina.
Thursday
It was the
night
first
game.
Thursday night game. My dad was extremely sick. He had just,
Oh,
his leg was amputated. He was all this stuff was
oh
going on,
man.
and He didn't have much hours left to live. They told me he only had 12 to 18 hours left to
Are
live.
you serious that night?
Yeah, that was the same kind of week, and it was a crazy week. But what was crazy was is that I'm playing there. It's my first college football game. I'm playing in
I
South
know.
Carolina. It was a good game. It was back and forth, and then
ESPN.
I got knee to the head. I haven't missed a game since. Knock on any wood, but I haven't missed
Are
a game
you
since.
serious?
Yeah, so it was a but the good thing is I got to start that game, so I
Yeah, you
played
did.
for half the game or three quarters or whatever. I got knocked out,
Who
and
hit you?
I still don't remember to this
Okay.
day.
Who came
Um,
in backup role for you?
I think Daniel Evans did,
Oh,
I
wow.
believe.
Okay.
I don't remember. I was knocked out.
Yeah, no, I know.
but but I do remember waking up and I was had slobber all over my face. My mom was right in my face. Like we were in this hospital. I'm like, where am I? And but yeah, that was the last game last moment I kind of missed. But what was crazy is to think about from my freshman year. You've known me since my freshman year in college to all the way to my years at Wisconsin, NC State, obviously, but Wisconsin,
I
and then
know.
obviously the NFL draft, like you talked about your dad,
Yeah.
rooting for me and everything else. But I think about that
When
landscape
you went
changing.
to Wisconsin, I remember
Mhm.
standing on the field with you. I'll never forget it. We did your Rose Bowl too, because I took a
Good.
picture with your lineman at the Rose Bowl. But you talking to me and Herbie before your first Wisconsin game, and you telling us how
Nebraska.
oh, yeah, you looked at note cards to learn the offense. I'll never forget it.
It's true. I had to draw. Uh, Interesting fact here for everybody. I got to I left baseball. It was June 27th. I
Mhm.
called the Colorado Rockies. Woke up that morning and said, I'm going to be uncommon. I'm going to be different. I'm going to go back and play college football. And so I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, middle of nowhere, up in the mountains, beautiful, beautiful area. But I get in my car, I let my team know, go play that game. That was my last game. Hop in the car, drive to Raleigh, North Carolina, pack all my stuff up. June 28th, get in the car, June 29th, get in the U-Haul, drive 18 hours or whatever, all the way up to Madison, Wisconsin. Get there the morning of July 1st. I pull up on Breeze Street, actually, ironically, Camp Randall's backside of Camp Randall's Breeze Street, which I'm like, okay, I'm in the perfect spot. It's my favorite quarterback,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I'm on Breeze Street. Pull in. Next thing I know, hop out of the U-Haul, go get my outfit on. I start throwing with Nick Toon that day on the field, and
Nick
so what I
Toon.
yeah, so what I had to do was I got all these note cards. This is for any young quarterback, anybody who wants to be successful or something. Even for like a person like Erin, always take notes. I always say KTN, keep taking notes. So the thing was is that I kept taking notes. What I did was I had these note cards and I would put them together and I would draw all the plays on the front side of pictures. And I had this big old ring and then the old school high school thing you do
Oh
in middle
yeah.
school, whatever. And I'd flip the cards and just I'd always visualize what the plays were, and that's how I learned the offense so fast. And I gave myself a challenge to learn them in 3 weeks, and I think that was a cool process for me. But I think also too, when I think about you and the process of transition of women in sports and everything else in the past 9 years, what does it look like 9 years ago with women in sports, and even now has that grown drastically? Would you say this about the same? What would you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, and you know this better than anyone. I mean, now we're seeing Sarah, an official, obviously working NFL games, officiating NFL games. We have coaches on the sidelines. I mean, I think it's nothing to see a sideline reporter. We have a woman calling a game, doing play-by-play for the NFL as well. So yeah, I mean, I think slowly but surely we are making progress, and I think it's phenomenal, and I'm proud of that. And I know that more steps need to be taken. It's so funny because people will text me or tweet me all the time and just say, when are you going to get up in the booth? When are you going to do that? And I don't want to go anywhere. Are you kidding me? I mean, they're going to have to drag my rear end off that sideline. Where, not this year, unfortunately, because we're in the first row, but where we are on the field,
No place
I
better.
wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I want to know what Russell Wilson's going to come say to his O line, or what he's going to come say to, a Pete Carroll, or I can't repeat it, but damn, I love standing there and hearing it. I want to be standing right behind you when the other team is marching down the field, and I want to watch you singing, because I want to ask you when you pull off the win what you were singing. And my favorite part of that whole moment, you looking at me and being like, yeah, like I love that stuff. It jacks me up so much. So I'm happy for the progress women have made, but where I am, I'm so thankful, and I don't want to be anywhere else. Even if there aren't any bathrooms on the sidelines and you have to run up to the press box, that's a bummer.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, I was singing "Great is Your Faithfulness" that night, and it was so it was a cool thing. It's really strange being in the stadium than
Yeah.
nobody being there. Like
No, people
it's
don't
so
know what
much
we're
different.
talking about right now, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, basically, we won a big game. What game was that? It was recently, but it was a
Don't
home game. I forget.
know.
We played so many games, but
Arizona,
it
Thursday
was
night.
Arizona. Good game actually.
Yeah.
It was came down to the wire. But I was singing on the sideline, and I've always told Erin I always sing a song, but I was singing, and now there's nobody in the stands at all, so she can
Right.
even hear me. And so yeah, we that was a key moment where we stopped him, and I was just celebrating. And he saw me there celebrating. That was cool.
It
But
was
I
awesome.
do think what's crazy is you go back to the Rose Bowl, go back to the
Yeah.
NFC Championship games and Super Bowls and all that. You said it exactly right. There is no place better than being right there on the sideline. And people don't
Nothing.
understand how fast the game moves and
Oh my
the
gosh.
the the type of athletes and just the speed and just how fast your mind has to function on the
Mhm.
field. But I also think about Sarah Fuller. We talk about women in sports. I think about Sarah Fuller, her becoming the new field goal
Yes.
kicker, for Vanderbilt. Like
Yeah.
that's amazing to me, just
So
seeing
cool.
that process. And do you think that more women will start playing? Because I'm really big into flag football. I've been help come become the chairman of the NFL flag and be a part of that whole process has been really really cool. uh, and obviously with NFL flag, you think about sports, and as I've traveled around the country, around the world, it's interesting because when I go to other countries, when I've gone to China, I've gone to Brazil, I've gone to Europe, and especially in countries like China and Brazil, it was interesting because a lot of places would say that a lot of young kids would always tell me that guys and girls are like, well, we don't have the means or this or that, and they see that as football and American football to be an expensive sport. It's one of those things where shoulder pads, helmets, knee pads, all the cleats, all the things you have to have. But versus soccer, for example, worldwide soccer, when you think about football in those countries, it's like all you need is a ball and a goal.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter what you have. And so one of the things that I've been super fascinated by is the growth of NFL flag and women in sports. And I remember going to Brazil. I remember throwing this post route. Sierra's right there with me. And she asked me what route I wanted her to run. And I started drawing. She says, just tell me the name. This young, she's probably 14-year-old Brazil girl.
Cute.
And I said, run a post. She says, got you. And she took off so fast and caught this post route. But what I think is fascinating is I see these amazing young women being so inspirational in NFL flag and the leagues that we've been creating around the country and around the world is that you know girls really want to be actively involved in sport. And I think that the reality is that there's some great I think about my sister when I was at NC State. She'd be little young girl. She's like 6, 7, 8 years old, and she chucked that football further than most guys could throw it. And I think the inspiration of seeing young women in sports, does that inspire you? How does that inspire you when you see a person like Sarah Fuller, become the first woman to really, ever really score a point in Division 1A football and all that? How does that inspire you?
Well, it inspires me because I think you have to have courage to do what I do for a living, but I think you have to have some cojones to do that, what
Mhm.
she's doing.
Yeah.
I go back to, all the naysayers that, do you really like sports, or are you just a girl that likes to wear hair extensions and be on the sidelines with cute boys? But then I think of
You wear
her
hair
actually.
extensions? I'm just kidding.
Who doesn't, by the way? Yours look great. No, I'm kidding. You think this thing's real? You're crazy. So just her actually having to throw on a uniform,
Yeah. Mhm.
can you imagine the naysayers in her ear? I mean, good for her. Just basically being like,
Yeah,
watch
for
me.
sure.
God, I mean, go ahead with yourself.
And
No,
I think Sarah's a national champion too in soccer, right?
is
They
she?
w-
Oh, yes.
I think they were really good in soccer too as well.
Good
So
for
it's just
her.
really cool to see
It's
women
awesome.
in sports. And I think back to my sister, I think back to Sienna, and Sierra, she loves sports. This girl Sierra, she's obsessed with sports. She's always
Really?
talking about it. Yeah, yeah. So she's
Yeah.
she's all in.
I feel like to be married to an athlete, or at least to have some sort of relationship to an athlete, you have to. And I think, and I'm sure Sierra is the same way. I like to kind of say that Sierra and I are the same person. I wish I could dance like her. But you have to be understanding of the schedule. You have to be understanding of the passion, the competitiveness, right? I mean, you guys aren't home at all when it's your season. And when you are, it's not like, yeah, you're home. And I know you're a great father and a great husband, but when you got a huge matchup like you do on the 27th and the A crew's in town,
Hey,
to broadcast
hey.
the Rams game, Rams Seahawks, you're there, but we know where your mind is. I mean, I'll remember during a Stanley Cup run, my husband they basically live in the hotel and, they play every other day. And I was like, can't we just have dinner one night? Like, are you serious? Why are you going to the hotel? Can't we go to dinner? And I remember him looking at me and he said, do you know how much pressure I'm under? And he goes, you should. And I was like, you're right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're married to somebody like you or somebody that loves their job as much as, you guys do, it's like, you have to be a fan of
Well,
this.
I think the cool part is that, what I noticed with you and Jared is that you guys get to support one another.
Oh yeah.
And that's the fun part, I think, of the journey. Even though
Mhm.
it's very challenging, people don't understand how many hours that
Yeah.
it takes to get prepared for an NFL football game. The
I can't
mental side of it and getting people don't understand how many hours it gets to take physically for an NFL football game. People don't think about how many hours it takes physically to get prepared for an NHL Stanley Cup matchup, and
even.
just to get ready from one game to the other, just getting beat up the way those guys get beat
Right.
up is absolutely fascinating. But people don't forget how many hours just to learn all the players and who they are and the matchups and the coverages and all the things that you got to know and all the flow of the game and all the circumstances that it all affects the game that you have to know and prepare for.
And then
And
you have
I've
all
been
the media responsibilities too. Like, I mean, no offense, NHL doesn't even have that. I don't have that. That's a whole other level with your life people don't get.
yeah, well, I've been in those production meetings, for example, and one of the coolest things I got to do when I was a rookie, I used to go to, when I have a bye week or playoffs, and I did the Super Bowl, and I think it was with CBS. I can't remember or not, but I was able to sit there with it was with CBS. I was able to sit with Cower
Oh,
and several
cool.
other guys and just go through that process and go through the production meetings and sit with other guys on NFL Network and just
Yeah.
ESPN and just Fox. And I've immersed myself in that experience of learning what production is like, and also being relaxed, but being knowledgeable of all the challenges and all the things and all the different ways that a team can manipulate a defense, or this is what happened this game before. This is
Yeah.
those kind of matches. I love
But
sports. I
that's
love, like,
great.
one of my favorite thing to do in the off season is go watch games. And I think that's one of the coolest things that I could ever do. But if you're some young girl out there and listening to this, and
Mhm.
if somebody wants to be like you, EA, like what would you tell them? How would you inspire them, and what would be that one thing that you would tell them to keep
I
going and keep driving forward?
Yeah, I would probably say, well, two things. One is what my dad told me when I just, I remember graduating the University of Florida and I was putting my tape out there trying to get a job. And I was kind of, it was the summertime. I had already, got my degree. And my dad just said, why don't you start studying? And I said, well, for what? And he said, I don't know, whatever job you're going to get. And I was like, Dad, I don't know what sport I'm going to work. And he said, well, exactly. And he's like, and by the way, there's more out there than just Florida Gator football. Pick up a newspaper, read about some other teams,
Hmm.
pick up some magazines, start reading, start immersing yourself in sports. And I think that's the one thing. And, it doesn't matter if you're working 2 games a week or 1 game a week, you just have to be really well researched. And that's something now with social media and you guys having your own social media is just being up to date. I mean, I've got, an NFL network on here right now in case there's any sort of breaking news. You just have to be well versed because Leslie Visser had said this to me. You can get your job being a female, you'll get the job, but you have to be a hard worker to keep your foot in the door and you have to keep finding ways to reinvent yourself. And I think that's something I'll always have a chip on my shoulder because I didn't play anything. I was always a dancer and a fan, but so I have to work twice as hard, or 4 times as hard, 5 times. Troy Aikman can talk about anything and doesn't have to study. He does study. He studies like crazy, but he can always go back to what he knew and how he played. I can never do that. The only thing I can go back to is my relationship with you, knowing what your tendencies are on the sidelines, and also studying my rear end off. So that's one thing I just think if you are interested in doing this for a living, and first of all, you have to have the passion. Second of all, you have to be well researched. And third of all, Russ, you know this better than anyone, you have to have thick skin.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
put yourself out there. People are always going to have an opinion. They always know better. You're going to screw up on national television and you have to find a way to, which I think is incredible that all of you guys do for a living, get over it and move on. How
Yeah.
the heck do you move on after a bad play? Because I screw up on air, my armpits sweat, my whole body shakes, I feel horrible, I get chest pains the next night. I don't know how It's why you guys are paid like you are, how you freaking move on. It's incredible. Incredible.
Well, I think it's to be able to have amnesia. You know, I
Yeah.
think in anything you got to have amnesia. You got to be able to forget the past and
Yeah.
move on. Take me to the best game you've ever done. Best game.
Oh my
What's the best game you've ever done?
That's so I can't even, I mean, I would say that San Francisco game was right up there. That's a legendary one. That Green Bay one. Why does it always come back to you?
I don't know.
It does though. That was pretty phenomenal. The Super Bowl this past year that we just did was pretty amazing to watch
That was
Patrick
good.
Mahomes just come back and them win again. I felt bad for obviously the 49ers. Yeah, I just feel like those are some of the ones. I'll never forget that Green Bay game with you. I remember post game, you were just bawling your brains out. And I can't even imagine what you were thinking. And they were coming to me live, which when you are told your interview is going live, like that's major. Like you're not throwing it back to the guys in the studio, you're going live. And I remember being like, Russ, and I'm in the pile and you're like, I can't. I'm like, I need you. I felt like Kate on the Titanic, right? Rose, like, Jack, I need you. Pulling you out. You're trying to like.
I was so emotional in that game. Oh,
Oh
God.
my
That was
gosh.
the craziest game I think I've ever played in. I think ball bouncing everywhere. And then next thing you
Caustic.
know, we ended up winning that game. That was nuts. That's probably one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of for sure.
Craziness.
One of the
Yeah.
most emotional games for sure.
Yeah. Green Bay,
hence my
Dallas. I feel like I've had some big ones there where Rodgers has found like Jared Cook or Devontae. Some of those matchups were pretty big. But yeah, you were always kind of in the middle of the ones that were the big ones.
What's the one event if you had one chance to do the biggest event? Like what would that one event be?
Well, I've gotten to do a national championship. I've gotten to do a couple of Super Bowls, which I'm thankful for. I always wanted to do the Final Four. I thought that'd be really, really fun. I never got
Everybody
to
hear that? Final Four, Erin Andrews?
I've never, CBS, so
Yeah,
under a different
nice.
contract. But I got to tell you, I mean, there's nothing like being at a Super Bowl. Your first Super Bowl, as we said, was my first one. And I remember it wasn't even the anthem. Was it Queen Latifah? Did she sing God Bless America? Somebody sang something before.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
I'm
like
sure you don't remember, but I was bawling my brains out. I was just like, I made it. I mean, I'm not even playing, Russell. Like, here I am.
I would think like for me, like if I could go to one event, I've always wanted to go to the Olympics. I've
Oh,
always
yeah.
I've either you wanted to participate in Olympics, which I can't, or
Right.
or I've always wanted to be in it, or
Yeah.
be there, like actually be in the moment, like watch the swimming, watch the track, watch guys run, track and field, watch just the
Yeah.
Olympics and just be there. I got to talk to Dwayne Wade last week and with Danger Talking, he talked about just the moment between
Oh
him
my
and
gosh.
Kobe, where they got to put the gold medal on
Mhm.
and just just the exchange of the gold medal. So
Yeah.
so this has been amazing. So listen, I got to do this ad read real fast. I'm sure you're used to
Oh, I
ad
love
reads
an
and
ad
everything
read.
else. So
Where you make
let
the
me know
money
let me know how I do it. As I do this
Okay.
ad read, you can be on your phone or do whatever you need to do and
You're
check up
the
on NFL. But here I go. 'Tis the season for giving, and to celebrate the most joyous time of the year, DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is giving new players a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes throughout the week. This week is sure to be action-packed, so get on all the action now to claim your free shot at millions of dollars in prizes when using code DangerTalk during sign-up. Playing daily fantasy sports is simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the sweat like never before. Every run, pass, and catch means more with DraftKings. For all you basketball fans, tip-off is right around the corner, so head to DraftKings now to check out all of the hoops action. With DraftKings, payday comes every day for players. So what are you waiting for? Head to the app now. Download the DraftKings app now and use code DangerTalk during sign-up this week. DraftKings is putting you in the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. That's code DangerTalk, and you can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Erin, how was that?
You know what I loved about it? You had like a careless whisper to your voice.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, okay.
Okay, I'm doing
It was
my thing
great.
over
And
here.
you
Okay,
didn't
I
screw
love it.
up. I'm like a 4-take wonder over there. I do better live, but you
Yeah.
just nailed that thing.
Well, listen, Jeff Dye, I'm not sure if you're back yet, but did you hear that? Jeff, I think Jeff's coming back over here on the channel soon, but You know,
I heard it. I think she's being real over the top. It was.
She said I had a what was that term? What was that term, Aaron? I had a what whisper?
A careless whisper.
Yeah,
like
she's
that.
being real generous, isn't she,
I'm
today?
just saying, just, just flowing. Well, listen.
Best games, best everything. Russell Wilson, it always comes back to you. I'm getting real fishy over here.
Well, listen, Aaron. So obviously we have 3 weeks to go. We got the season. Everything's right in the midst of everything. What do you think? Who's going to think is going to win the Super Bowl? First of all,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
First of all, if BS to put me on the spot like this, I don't know.
BS? What do you mean?
You know the answer.
You know what, Aaron? You know what? She wants to say the Packers. So that's what she wants to say. That's what she wanted to say. Yep. I know.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, because I
don't think they're going to win it. Okay, cool. Good to know.
What sucks is, Jeff, I'll speak to you on this. I've never done one of these where somebody asked me where somebody you covered. This is like a conflict of interest because I know how I feel. It probably would have something to do with him cooking. What are you cooking tonight, by the way, big boy? Anybody cooking for you?
Who knows? But listen, this is my turn to interview you.
I know. Okay, I don't like that.
So
it's like TMZ. I turn it right around when TMZ comes. I'm like, no, but what do you think of that?
So, okay, Aaron, fun question here for you. So, of all the cool athletes, cool people you've gotten to interview, like, what's like? I asked you earlier about what your kind of favorite games and moments and all that, but what has been like the favorite, your best experience, like the most fulfilling experience? Like it's one thing to get to go to the Super Bowl, but like, man, it's like, what was that one time? Like I told you earlier, when I was up there with Terry Bradshaw, and we were standing there, and I was about to go to the Super Bowl and all that. I felt the stillness. Has there been one particular moment where you felt like thank you for all the things I've gone through, all the good, bad, and different. Like, this is the moment. Like, this is the time. Like, this is that. And it could be something big. It could also be something really small. But has there ever been that moment that's ever hit you like that?
Yeah, I'm like looking at the picture right now. It was, I forgot what season it was. It's probably on his jersey. 2000, does that say 13? I was raised a Red Sox fan, and I was still covering baseball, the playoffs. Whose puppy is that?
Sorry. I have a golden doodle who's a psycho, and someone knocked on the door, and now this will be on the podcast. Go ahead.
You have a golden doodle? Look at this sexy beast. Come here. Come up. He's tired. His name's
Who calls a dog a sexy beast?
Oh, this thing should be on Ralph Lauren. Wait till you see him. He's just waking up right now.
Sorry about that.
2013, Red Sox postseason. I was raised a Red Sox fan, but who wasn't cheering for them that season? Obviously, it was after the Boston bombing. The Sox, there he is, so sexy. Wow, but I had a picture with Poppy after he did the whole "This is our effing city," and I think every single night, in Boston at Fenway, they had something with a tribute to first responders, victims, everything. I mean, you were crying right before first pitch every night, but they won the World Series. I had my mom and dad there. They're both from New England. And I just remember I got my parents out on the field. We walked over to the Green Monster. We all took a picture together. And then we walked back through like the concourse, and Poppy walked out and just, embraced my family. I was like, this is freaking amazing. Like, my parents are here. This just comes full circle. Hands reaching out, Neil Diamond singing. I mean, it was awesome. That was it.
What a special
one
moment.
of them.
What a special
The other one was this time that Russell Wilson won this.
There it is.
That's what I was looking for.
That's
what
I
was looking for. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's reaching out.
It was this night in Seattle where
okay, well, Jeff Dye, obviously you've been hanging out, listening to the interview and everything else, but you got anything else for us? I think you got a 2-minute drill. I think you got some fun for us.
I think it's time for the 2-minute drill. The conversation was great. You're a delight, Erin Andrews. Russ, smooth as ever. This is how the 2-minute drill works, EA. I'm going to ask you as many rapid fire questions as I can in 2 minutes, and you need to be as quick as possible. We'll go to you first, and then Russ will have the same question right after you. Don't hesitate. Just give us your best answer. If you say something humiliating, you can trust we'll edit it out.
I love the edited part.
Yeah, no, that was a wink. I'm lying. All right, here we go.
No, you can't.
Producers. No, I mean, we will if you really botch it, but don't worry. We'll probably just edit out all the times my dog barked during a professional podcast. Thank you, Zoom.
Yeah, what's even greater is that background you got there. It looks like you're hanging it from a shower head there.
I know. Yeah,
Well, my dog keeps walking through it too. It's like, guys, I'm doing my best here. All right.
Hey, we're all in this together.
That's right.
Anyways.
All right. So here's how it goes.
Rapid fire questions for you. You know what I mean? I've been reading People magazine. What?
Oh,
I have no idea what you're
wow.
referencing, and I don't appreciate it.
People
But it's all true. Here we go. Let's do this.
Let's go
All right,
on.
2-minute drill. We're starting on the. We'll put 2 minutes on the clock. Producers. All right. First question, Erin. We're going to you first. Just a reminder: Camp Randall or the Swamp?
The Swamp.
Camp
Russ?
Randall. Get out of here with this.
All right, that's an easy one. It's a layup.
I do love fourth quarter. at Camp
Celebrity that made you starstruck that you met at any point in your life.
Randall. Tom Hanks.
Michael Jordan, probably.
Oh well, Jesus. Yeah.
Mine's Sierra. All right, what's the most you've ever tipped?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
More
Quick,
than
quick,
my
quick.
husband is Canadian. No, that doesn't make it. That's
Russ, what's the most you've ever tipped?
The most I've ever tipped, I think, $7,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
boy. All right.
Not me. Different
Do
concept.
you like Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You?
What was the question?
Do you like the song Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Love, and we'll perform a whole kick routine to it.
Now we're
Can we
talking,
see it?
Russ.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Okay. This is an easy one, too. Great Dane or Golden Retriever?
Golden Retriever. Howie, David Ortiz, Stoll. Sometimes Andrews. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Russ?
Oh man, she's completely taken over the man cave. By the way, Great Danes. I got 3 Great Danes. Keep going.
Yeah, and I like Golden Danes. All right. Last time you wrote a physical check.
Last week.
Wow. Old.
I wrote one.
I
Last time
did.
I wrote one.
Yeah. 30 seconds. Come on.
Probably 2 years ago.
Most annoying interview or most annoying teammate you've ever had?
Most annoying interview.
Come on. Time's ticking.
I can't say.
Mine's easy. Jeff Dye.
How dare you? I'm not a teammate.
Just
All right.
kidding.
Favorite Christmas movie. 5 seconds. Go.
Christmas Story.
Home Alone. Without a doubt.
All right. That is the 2-minute drill. And
Preacher's
just
Wife.
as an extra little bonus, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I don't know.
To you.
I haven't watched it.
You've never saw Die Hard? Unreal.
Or Willy Wonka. That's another one. Or Princess Bride. Everyone kills me about that too.
You haven't seen Willy Wonka?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Golly,
You got to
what are
see
you
Die
doing
Hard.
there?
It's really, really good. That's all.
Like, what do you?
Sounds
What?
great.
I got a question for you, Aaron.
Chad
you know,
Eaton
first of all,
loved Die Hard.
You know, what kind of shows do you and Jarrett watch? Like, are you guys big Netflix people or what?
We watch Seinfeld. We love Curb. We love. I'm a Schitt's Creek gal. He doesn't really care too much. He'll go watch his own thing. Loved. What did we watch over quarantine? Yellowstone. Highly invested in that. Really hot. What else? Oh yeah, we'll watch, like, he's really into the whole Bachelorette thing. He likes to see the girls fighting and stuff like that.
He's not going to be happy you just said that, I don't
Oh
think.
no, he doesn't care. He loves.
Oh, he doesn't? All right, okay.
We'll FaceTime that beauty all the time. Are you kidding?
I
Yeah.
was going to say, if someone shared my favorite TV things on a podcast, I'd tell her to get off the podcast.
Well,
My
yeah.
husband knows what he married. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
verbal diarrhea all the time. He doesn't care. I mean, I do get a talking to or a kick under the table. Hey, like, let's tell everybody our things. Sure, babe.
Russ loves
Yeah.
the dating shows. Russ, you like those dating shows too.
I don't mind them sometimes. You know, I think sometimes it's good entertainment. You know.
What was the one during quarantine that came out? That Lachey.
that was
the
an amazing
Lachey's
show.
hosted?
That was hot.
Too
No,
hot to handle?
Too Hot to Handle.
Too Hot
I
to
still need to
Handle,
watch
yeah.
that. It was the
Mhm.
one before. They were in a different room and then they met.
What was that
Okay.
show?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I
No.
do, yeah. I
That's
do
not
like that one.
I know exactly the one you're talking about. And they don't.
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Look at that. Love is
Right.
Blind.
With all the blind people that date each other. I remember that.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
sure.
There goes the Golden Dougal. Golden Doodle. What do you call that dog
Yeah,
again?
his name's Bub. He's the greatest of
Bub.
all time, and he's not. He doesn't understand how podcasts work. He's very unprofessional.
His
Okay, well,
name is Bob.
Terry
Speaking
Bradshaw
of-
calls me Bub, so I named my dog Bub.
How are you friends with Terry Bradshaw?
I did a TV show with him, and he's like my father because we get along that good. I actually have his number tattooed on my back.
The one on E, you were on that one?
No, NBC.
Oh, okay. I watched it. It was great.
Nobody watched it.
So
right now.
speaking of just all the amazing things, thinking about greatness and all that. Erin, one of the things that we do, and you have where I have a company called Goodman Brand. Sierra and I just launched the House of RNC, which is really exciting. And as you've been,
Is that your perfume?
Well, we have RNC fragrance, but we just launched this whole which we'll have to send you actually.
Yes.
Sorry, Jeff. I don't know if you have a significant other there or not, Jeff.
He never sends me anything. It's very frustrating.
Fragrance, because I'm really into those. You guys remember CK1? I thought it was so hot.
Well, we'll have to send you the RNC fragrance, but
I only wear Febreze.
Well, I think one of the cool things about what you've been doing with Wear, and then also one of the things that I think that we've been able to do with Goodman Brand, it's been a blessing, is to always give back component and stuff like that. And so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Erin, is the last thing I hear is, because obviously you've done so many amazing things, but as I think about everybody you've been around and all that, what we do with Goodman Brand, we do this hero campaign, and we talk about this everyday hero, and we talk about just people who have done some really amazing things. Either you know them, you've seen something, or maybe you saw something on Instagram. It doesn't matter what it is, but is there somebody that has done something that's so inspiring to you? It could be somebody close to you. Like I said, it could be somebody you've seen socially or whatever. But we want to send them something. We want to send them a little care package just to let them know that they are heroes, that they have done something really amazing. And every time somebody buys Goodman Brand, 3% goes back to the Why Not You Foundation, which we donate all those proceeds to the Friends of the Children. And so what we want to do is give somebody something really cool. So a little care package from Goodman Brand. So who would you say is your everyday hero? Is anybody out there?
Gosh.
And like I said, it could be anybody.
I don't know if you guys, I think this is pretty spectacular, especially with the world that we're living in right now. I don't know if you guys are dialed into what Jay Glazer is doing right now with veterans who have come back and teaming them up with athletes. Do you know about that, Russ?
No, you gotta tell me about this.
He has a gym out here in California, and it's called Unbreakable. And actually my husband and some of his teammates went to it. He brings a lot of vets who have come back from serving our country and that need a support group. And as we all know, Jeff, I can see you're a big workout guy. No, I'm kidding. Working out helps us so much mentally. But they also have so many stories to share, and it's to help them, come back, kind of obviously get back to their ways, but they have so much that they're dealing with. So they work out together. And then Jay tries to bring, Jay Bird, he loves like all these athletes, and he is really connected in sports. He brings in the athletes so athletes can tell their story. And then these veterans tell them his story, tell the athletes their story, kind of gives perspective on life. Sometimes athletes need to hear that, that obviously take things for granted. And it's just now during COVID, they haven't been able to work out together. So he's doing these Zoom meetings. Michael Strahan's really involved as well, Tony Gonzalez too, where they are doing these workouts online, and then everybody is able to still speak. I know Coach McCarthy's involved, and Dan Quinn is involved as well. Wow. And they voice what they're going through. And right now, a lot of them are alone because they are by themselves. They're not able to go to gyms. And Jay has presented this whole forum for them to speak, do a group workout. And he just does so much with our veterans to give back. And I'm so grateful for that. And, guys like Alden Smith coming back into the league and helping him. That's actually where Alden worked out.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I heard about that.
Come back to the Cowboys. Yeah. So I just feel like his whole program he's doing right now with Unbreakable is so helpful. And especially with our vets that have returned and are unable to have really close communication with people, but they're able to do it virtually.
That's amazing. So Jay Glazer, Erin Andrews has now shouted you out. So we're going to send you a nice little care package, Jay.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing so much around the country and especially in California. But
Yeah.
as Erin mentioned, you're bringing athletes, but also veterans together.
Yeah.
Such a special thing. So you
It is.
are
Was she
everyday
suggesting
hero.
that I don't work out? Is that what?
No,
Did
I'm
I?
just saying, I know Russell and Sierra love some Alley Love, and that's where I do my
It's true.
mental
Do love
work
Ally.
on the bike. And, you know, I know that's where I escape. And Jeff, I can tell that that's probably what you do to, you know.
Yeah, I'm 6'4". All right, I'm a giant. It's not a-
6'4",
I work out.
150.
I work
6'4",
out.
150. But no,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll definitely have to send Jay something really special. Just
Yeah.
thank you for that, Erin. Jay, you're our everyday hero on Danger Talk. Jay Glazer, we're coming to you and sending you something cool. And just Erin, listen, I've been getting to know you for 13, 14 years maybe now. We've been around each other a bunch.
Me, Russ. Way to age me.
I'm growing with you. We're getting younger, but I think what's been so amazing is just the inspiration that you bring to so many people, not just women, not just girls, but just people in general, and just who you are as a person, how you carry yourself. You always seem to be an overcomer, and I'm just grateful for who you are. You always do everything with style and grace. You're an amazing entrepreneur, businesswoman. Created WR. Everybody, make sure you go check it out on Fanatics.
Our Seahawks gear is very cute.
Yes, I'm sure it is, the blue and green. And listen, I think that obviously to see you taking over the man cave, it means you must be running the show over there. So listen, Jared, I know you like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and all that, but Erin's running the show over here. So, but listen, I got a lot of respect for you. You know, you are a true delight to work with every time I get to work with you. You're a blessing to this world. And we're grateful to have you on Danger Talk. And I guess I'll see you soon. I guess
I'll see you on the 27th. What a matchup that's going to be.
We need it. But anyways,
that's a biggie, huh? That one?
It should be a good game. So anyways, I'm just grateful for you. And thank you for joining Danger Talk. And it's a blessing to have you. We've had some amazing guests, Erin. So we've gone from some really, really special. We've had Shaq. We've had John David Washington. Jeff Dye always likes to quiz me here. We've had Randy. We've had Randy Moss. We've had CP3. We've had after CP3 was who was after CP3? CP3 was
Is it happening?
Candace.
All right.
No, Candace Parker.
Wow.
We had the one and only Ken Griffey Jr., swingman over there.
Okay.
We had Matthew McConaughey with his new Green Lights book. We had after Matthew McConaughey, I think it was Joe Montana, which is one of my favorite athletes of all time. You know, man, I have this picture that always inspires me of Joe. I always tell people you sometimes see it in Levi Stadium. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, Erin, where he's sitting back on the wall and he's got his legs spread out. He's just kind of taking everything in. We've had Mike Tyson right before the big fight. We had Mark Cuban talking about business and life and just entrepreneurship. We've had obviously Sierra. To have her on the show was amazing.
Tough get. That was a tough get.
It was tough.
If her husband allowed it.
Yeah, you know, and then we also had we had Dwayne Wade, you know, Flash, making so many plays and so many things that he's done. And now, you know, in week 13 of Danger Talk, we've had Erin Andrews. So we're really grateful for you, who you are.
Chickens were slim out there, huh, guys? No, I'm kidding. Appreciate it.
You're
it's very
blessing to have you.
Darn good guest.
Yeah, you're amazing. So thank you for everything you're doing, and just praying for you. Keep going.
Thanks,
keep
babe.
Inspiring, and thank you for joining Danger Talk, Erin Andrews.
Love it. See you in Seattle next week.
Okay, we'll see you soon. I'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
All right, peace. So, Jeff, I mean, that was super cool. Obviously, Erin, I've known Erin for 14, 15 years now. And just to be able to do this interview with her and get all the knowledge from her, just her experiences, the greatest moments and stuff like that was super cool. As I said, we've had some amazing guests. And for her to be in week 13 of Danger Talk is such a blessing to interview her. So much knowledge, so much understanding of how she's got there. And it's cool always listen to somebody's story arc of how they've gotten to where they are, and just how she's such an influence in women, you know, as a woman in sports. And it's been really cool. So
I also like usually when we talk to athletes or you talk to people who are in the game like you or stuff like that, like you guys talk about sports so knowledgeably and all that stuff. But when we talk to her, you could tell how much she enjoys it. Like she makes it seem a lot, no offense to athletes, but she makes it seem so fun and so excited. She's very not as serious and dialed in. It's more like she knows it all, but she also really loves it. And you could really tell every time she talked about anything she was sharing.
I think the best thing about Erin, she always brings great passion and great knowledge to what she does. And it's pretty cool to see all the things she's doing with WR and just a businesswoman she is too as well. So what a gift, what a great interview, and I hope everybody on DangerTalk loved it, and I know I did for sure. And so Jeff Dye, we have next week coming up, and
I'm excited.
We have a good one next week, so we're excited about next week.
And whoever it is, you know, if for whatever reason, Erin Andrews will come on and do another hour, I think.
Yeah, well, you know, listen, I think Erin is really, really awesome. Just that you could come join us and stuff. So it's cool that she's going to have her, she's building her brand out more and more and more too, to see that. So next week's going to be great too as well. We're excited about DangerTalk and the growth of DangerTalk and all the things that we have going on. And Jeff, what you been up to lately, man?
Living life, traveling, having a good time.
Having a good time. Well, I hope everybody's having a good time. Stay COVID free, wear a mask, Jeff Dye. Yeah, wear a mask. And keep having fun, man.
Every day.
All right. DangerTalk, we're out. Appreciate you.
We out.